Imagine this. You're standing in a room full of people, your boss, your friends, maybe even your enemies, and every single one of them suddenly stops and looks at you with respect, not fear, not pity, respect. Their eyes linger on you, not because of what you've said or what you own, but because of something deeper, something unshakable. What did you do to earn it? How did you turn a moment of chaos into a quiet victory? Today, I'm going to show you one thing, one Stoic secret that can make this happen instantly. It's not about wealth, power, or clever words. It's about something far more rare. But before I reveal it, let me take you back, way back, to a story that starts simple but ends with a twist so wild you'll never see it coming. 2,000 years ago, in the bustling, sun-scorched heart of Rome, there lived a man named Lucius Verus. Not a noble, not a soldier, not a philosopher cloaked in white robes, just a merchant. Every day, he dragged his creaky wooden cart through the dusty streets of the Forum, hauling sacks of grain to sell to bakers, innkeepers, and anyone who'd spare him a coin. His hands were calloused, his tunic stained with sweat, and his name, barely a whisper among the elites who strode past him in their fine sandals. To them, Lucius was invisible. To his peers, other merchants scraping by, he was a target. They mocked him for his quiet demeanor, his refusal to haggle with venom or cheat a customer for an extra denarius. Soft, they called him, weak. But Lucius had a secret, a habit so subtle, so beneath the surface that no one noticed it, until it turned his world upside down. It started on a day like any other. The sun blazed overhead, the market hummed with the shouts of traders and the clatter of coins, and Lucius was unloading his grain when a shadow fell across his cart. He looked up to see Gaius Marcellus, a senator clad in a pristine toga, his chest puffed with the arrogance of a man who'd never known hunger. Gaius wasn't there to buy. He was there to destroy. See, Gaius had a grudge. Months earlier, Lucius had refused to sell him grain at a slashed price, citing fairness to his other customers. To Gaius, that refusal wasn't principle, it was insult, and men like Gaius didn't forgive. With a smirk, Gaius turned to the crowd and raised his voice. "This man," he bellowed, pointing at Lucius, "cheats you all. His grain is laced with sand, his scales rigged to rob you blind." Lies, of course. Lucius was meticulous, honest to a fault, but truth didn't matter. Gaius's words were a spark, and the crowd was dry tinder. Faces twisted with anger. Shouts erupted. Someone hurled a stone, splintering the side of Lucius's cart. Another kicked over a sack, spilling golden grain into the dirt. Within moments, a mob surrounded him, their fury a living thing, tearing at his livelihood. Gaius stood back, arms crossed, savoring the chaos he'd unleashed. Now picture yourself in Lucius's sandals. Your work, your pride, your survival, smashed and scattered before your eyes. Most of us would react the way humans do, scream in rage, beg for mercy, or swing a fist at the nearest face. But Lucius, he did none of that. He stood there, dust swirling around him, the crowd's jeers ringing in his ears, and he went silent. Not a word, not a flinch. And then, as the chaos peaked, he did something so strange, so utterly unexpected, that it froze the air. He smiled, not a sneer, not a grimace, a calm, quiet smile, as if he'd just remembered a private joke Gaius would never understand. You're probably thinking, "What, that's it?" He smiled. I get it. It sounds absurd. But stay with me because this is where the story takes a turn you won't believe. That smile wasn't weakness, it was power. See, Lucius wasn't just a merchant. In the quiet hours after the market closed, when the city slept, he'd sit by lamplight, poring over scrolls of Stoic wisdom, words from Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. He'd internalized their core truth. You can't control what happens to you, thieves, liars, mobs, senators, but you can control how you respond. That smile wasn't surrender. It was Lucius saying without a single word, "You can break my cart, scatter my grain, ruin my day, but you'll never break me." The crowd didn't know what to make of it. They'd expected tears, curses, a fight, anything but this. Gaius, too, faltered, his smug grin slipping as Lucius stood there, unbowed, that faint smile still on his lips. The shouts died down, the stones stopped flying, whispers rippled through the mob. Who is this guy? How is he so steady? What's he hiding? In that moment, something shifted. The energy turned. People didn't just walk away. They lingered, watching Lucius as he bent down, picked up a spilled sack, and started salvaging what he could, calmly, deliberately, as if Gaius and the mob were irrelevant. Days passed, and the story spread like wildfire through Rome's narrow streets. Merchants who'd mocked Lucius began nodding to him in the market. Customers sought him out, not Gaius's favored traders, because they'd heard about the man who faced ruin and didn't blink. Even a few soldiers, hardened men who'd seen battle, stopped by to ask how he'd stayed so composed. Lucius didn't preach or boast. He just kept doing what he always did, selling grain, keeping his word, mastering himself. But the twist? It wasn't over. Gaius, the mighty senator, couldn't let it go. His pride gnawed at him. He'd meant to crush Lucius, not elevate him, so he doubled down. Gaius summoned Lucius to his lavish villa, a sprawling estate of marble and gold overlooking the Tiber. The senator sat on a cushioned throne, flanked by guards, his voice dripping with venom. "You think you're untouchable?" he sneered. "I'll ruin you yet, your name, your trade, your life." Most men would have trembled, pleaded, or at least shown a flicker of fear. But Lucius? He stood there, hands clasped behind his back, and met Gaius's gaze. Then with that same quiet calm, he said, "Do what you must, Senator. My peace is mine to keep." No defiance, no groveling, just a statement, steady as stone. Gaius raged. He banished Lucius from the city, seized his remaining grain, spread more lies. But here's where the plot twists again, because exile didn't break Lucius. It made him. Word of his stand reached a neighboring town, Ostia, a port bustling with sailors and merchants. They welcomed him, not as a victim, but as a man worth knowing. His reputation grew. People flocked to hear him, not for grand speeches, but for the quiet strength he carried. They asked how he faced ruin and walked away taller, and Lucius, ever the Stoic, told them, "Focus on what's yours, your mind, your will, the rest is noise." Months later, the final twist hit. Gaius, the untouchable senator, fell. His schemes unraveled, debts exposed, allies turned, and he found himself alone, his power crumbling. Desperate, he tracked Lucius to Ostia. Picture this, Gaius, once towering, now haggard, standing at Lucius's modest stall, begging forgiveness. "I misjudged you," he muttered, voice cracking. "Teach me what you know." Lucius didn't gloat. He didn't refuse. He just nodded, handed Gaius a sack of grain, and said, "Start here. Master yourself first." The crowd watched, stunned. The man who'd lost everything had won everything, not by force but by something rarer than gold, self-mastery. So what's the secret? What's the one thing you can do to command respect like Lucius? It's not about fighting harder, talking louder, or proving yourself with flashy moves. It's this: master your reaction. The Stoics teach us that people don't respect your wealth, your status, or even your words. They respect your strength of character. And nothing shows that faster than how you handle the chaos life throws at you. Lucius didn't win by outsmarting Gaius or outmuscling the mob. He won by refusing to let them dictate his soul. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, Marcus Aurelius wrote. That's the Stoic key Lucius lived by, and it's yours to use today. Let's break it down with 3 real-world moves, practical, battle-tested steps you can start right now to earn respect instantly. First, pause before you react. Life loves to test us. Your boss snaps at you, a friend betrays you, a stranger cuts you off in traffic. The instinct is to fire back, to defend your pride with words or fists. But Stoicism says, stop, take a breath, let silence settle in. Imagine you're at work, and a coworker throws shade in a meeting. You always miss deadlines. The room tenses, waiting for your comeback. Most would snap, "That's not true," or shrink in shame. Instead, you pause. You look at them calm and say nothing, or maybe a measured, "I'll consider that." That's not weakness, it's control. Studies back this up. Psychologists call it emotional regulation, and people see it as confidence under fire. Confidence earns respect every time. Second, reframe the attack. The Stoics believed every obstacle is a chance to practice virtue. Take Lucius. Gaius didn't just attack his cart, he attacked his honor. Lucius could have seen himself as a victim, but he didn't. He saw it as a test. Apply that now. Your annoying neighbor blasting music at 2 a.m.? They're not a curse. They're your personal trainer for patience. Your toxic ex texting insults, they're not your downfall. They're your gym for resilience. Flip the script in your head. Instead of why me, ask, what can I master here? When people see you turn poison into power, they can't look away. That quiet strength, it's magnetic. Third, act with purpose, not passion. Lucius didn't smile to taunt Gaius. He smiled to rise above him. Passion is a wildfire. It burns hot and fades fast. Purpose is a river, steady, unstoppable. Next time you're provoked, say a driver flips you off, you've got a choice. Yell back and feel small, or sit tall, let it go, and drive on. Deliberate action trumps emotional flailing every time. People don't respect the loudest screamer in the room. They respect the one playing chess while everyone else is throwing tantrums. Lucius knew that. Now you do too. But here's the real twist. And it's not just about Lucius or Gaius. This isn't only about earning respect from others. It's about respecting yourself. The Stoics understood that true power isn't out there, in applause, titles, or revenge. It's in here. When you master your reactions, you stop being a puppet to life's strings. Your boss's mood, your friend's betrayal, the world's chaos. You become the one pulling them, and trust me, people notice. Not because you demand it, but because they feel it. Respect follows like a shadow. Let's ground this in today's mess. Picture a single mom, Carla, working 2 jobs. Her boss docks her pay over a mistake she didn't make. Old Carla would have cried or quit. New Carla, armed with stoic wisdom? She pauses, breathes, doesn't let anger own her. She reframes it. This isn't unfairness, it's a chance to prove her grit. She acts with purpose, calmly talks to HR, fixes the error, keeps her head high. Her boss doesn't just back off, he starts trusting her more. Her kids see it too. Mom's not a doormat, she's a rock. Respect flows both ways. Or take Jay, a college kid. His professor humiliates him in class, calls his essay trash. Jay's gut screams to argue. Instead he pauses, lets the sting fade. He reframes. This isn't an attack, it's feedback, raw but useful. He acts deliberately, rewrites the essay, hands it in, no fuss. The professor, expecting a fight, is floored. Next class, he nods at Jay. Respect earned, not demanded. This works anywhere. Your spouse snaps at you? Pause, don't escalate. Reframe, they're stressed, not evil. Act with purpose. Listen, then speak kindly, they'll feel it. Your annoying coworker? Same playbook. Life's a gauntlet of Gaiuses, big and small, and everyone's a chance to be Lucius, so try it. Next time life hits, whether it's a flat tire or a screaming match, pause, reframe, act with purpose. You'll be shocked how fast respect follows. Not just from others, but from the face in the mirror. That's the Stoic promise. You don't need the world to bow. You just need to stand tall in it. Want more Stoic secrets like this? Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, join the journey. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't owe you respect. It doesn't owe you anything. But you can demand it, not with noise or force, but with every choice you make. Lucius turned a smashed cart into a legacy. What will you turn your next challenge into? I'll see you in the next one.